Hello. You are listening to the Carroll Connection with your host, Jared Carroll.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Carroll Connection. I'm your host, Jared Carroll, and I'm glad to be back. I'm so excited to be behind this microphone once again, dropping some content for you guys. This is episode 40, 2020 year in review. I can't believe I got to episode 40. That's consistency, that's a lot of hard work, that's a lot of effort, working with my guests, working with their schedules, scheduling, setting up the equipment, editing. I've learned a lot about myself through my podcast and through my guests. Listening to their stories have been nothing short but amazing, and seeing the vulnerability of people to kind of just share what they have going on in their life right now, and just being expressive, talking about their feelings, talking about mental health. I can't thank you guys enough. And everyone that tunes into my podcast, I appreciate you guys so much. I wouldn't have a platform without the people that listen and tune in, support me and share my content. It's so, I really cannot express how grateful I am to have that opportunity to do something like this. And this year has been crazy. It's been absolutely insane. I've gone through crazy ups and crazy downs, and we'll get into it in this episode. But quickly, I want to shout out my last recorded episode, which about a month ago, was with my brother, James Carroll III. If you haven't checked it out, links in my bio, all that fun stuff. Awesome episode. But now, let's look back. Let's look back at an amazing fucking year. A lot of things that have happened, starting off at the beginning of the year when we lost Kobe Bryant. That really did affect me. Everyone that was a sports fan and anyone who's an athlete respects Kobe Bryant. So when he passed away in that awful helicopter crash, that was really devastating. And to lose his daughter and those other people that were on that flight too, devastating. And this year has been nothing short of that. It's been a devastating year. COVID has really come in, and this pandemic has changed everyone's life. I can't even express how it's changed my life. I work from home now. I have not been in the office since March, and that seems so long ago. It literally seems like another year, and that's still 2020. Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. But a lot of you guys have seen me grow, not only on my platforms, but in real life too. I've taken a lot of pride in my mental health, a lot of my physical health, carrying over from 2019. If you go back to episode, I believe it's 7, I did a 2019 year in review, and I really didn't know what I was doing. It was very early on in my podcast, but I wanted to talk about a lot of things that I had experienced in 2019, and I listened back to it, and it's so crazy to hear yourself about a year ago talking about the things that you've accomplished and want to going forward. Just hearing that in real time now is awesome to experience, because I could analyze what did I do right and what did I do wrong, and see if I did hit the goals that I was trying to. Obviously, the pandemic changed everything. I was not expecting that. I don't think any of us really were. So I had to kind of navigate and figure out how to move through this. And it was crazy because I'm very vulnerable on my TikTok, and you guys have seen that. And the people who are from TikTok that listen to this podcast, shout out you guys. You guys know who you are that support me the most. But that app allowed me to get really fucking vulnerable and express who I am and feel unapologetic about doing that. Because a lot of people don't like to show themselves when they're upset, when they're emotional, or even when they're angry sometimes. And TikTok really opened me up to show who I am, and the sad part of me too. I was experiencing, I'll be honest, I was very honest on TikTok, and I've been very honest on this podcast, but kind of a heartbreak. I brought someone new into my life, and it didn't pan out, and it was a lot of ups and downs in that. I'll call it a situationship, but a lot of ups and downs, and I learned a lot about myself through this journey, and it's really opened me up to rediscover my self-worth, what I value, and a lot of things that I worked on in therapy have really helped me push into this next stage. And without what I've gone through this past year, I probably would have never got onto TikTok and posted the videos that I did. And I'm excited about where I could take that because that platform is growing and I'm building an amazing community of people that are very supportive. And like, if you guys have been on my lives recently, you could see that. Like, I go live on TikTok a little bit, and the people in the comments are fucking amazing. You guys know who you are, but seeing that presence carry over to Instagram and the support to my podcast, like my podcast views have been going up this past month, and I have not posted a single episode, and that's kudos to you guys for tuning in and checking that out for me. So thank you so much. But looking at that experience that I've gone through, because it literally all happened like throughout the middle of this year, was going through the heartbreak, managing my emotions, and I sucked at it, to be honest, brutally honest. I was not good with my emotions. I was better than I used to be, which is a good thing. It's huge for growth, but I was not where I wanted to be, and I knew that. I was self-aware enough to see, hey, Jared, you're not making the appropriate steps in this situation to get better, and you're allowing yourself to kind of slip back into like a depressive mind state, and like my toxic traits were coming out, and it was really affecting me. And you guys who've been on the podcast know I've been very vulnerable with you guys about sharing stuff in my life. And you could see that the things that I was going through were weighing on me, but I never allowed that to deter me to stop doing the podcast, to stop working out, to stop working. Like, I tried my best to continue with my positive train, and some days I could do it, some days I couldn't. And I had to like manage that and figure out, okay, it's okay to feel these like sad feelings. It's okay to feel mad. It's okay to feel happy. Like, emotions are human, and that's what I really had to get back to, was like, I should be allowed to feel what I need to feel, and no one should tell me when I can and can't feel my feelings. Like I say it all the time, guys, feel your feelings. And then once you do that, you take those feelings and you learn from them. So that's something I really have been pushing to do, is learning from what I've gone through this year, learning from my setbacks, and making sure those setbacks don't happen in the future. And something I really focused in on with my therapist was figuring out, what do I value? What's important to me? And I'll give you guys my number one. My number one value was connection. Surprising. Maybe? No. Name of the podcast, The Carroll Connection. I think connection is so important, and this year showed me that. This year showed everybody how important it is to stay connected with people, to have conversations with people. In a year we couldn't be as face-to-face with people, Zoom things opened up, FaceTime really started popping, and we got really specific with who we were letting in our lives. I think that is super important, to be mindful of who's around you. Energy is so valuable, and you need to be mindful of your energy. So that goes back to the people you keep around you. They always say, like, you're a combination of the 5 closest people around you, whether it's salary, energy, all that shit. That makes so much sense, because if you're hanging around with a bunch of people who act like losers and don't want to fucking do anything, most likely you're going to be a loser too. And that's brutally honest. I'm sorry if that rubs someone the wrong way, but you want to surround yourself with people who are like-minded like you, and that's something I've really found myself doing more this year, and especially on TikTok. I found a lot of people who are in that same space that I am, that are very passionate about mental health, very honest about their feelings, and they're looking for connection, and like that group of people and that community that I'm building is carrying into this podcast too, and like inspiring me to make new content. Like, I'm recording right now on a camera, and it's fucking insane to me, like, to be able to look at myself in this camera and be like, yo, I'm really taking this next leap with my podcast and my YouTube channel. All right, and if you haven't checked that out, link in the bio, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Gonna make more videos with that too, and hopefully I'll sprinkle in some podcast stuff best I can. We'll see how I can figure this stuff out, because I'm still learning how to use this, to be completely honest. But transitioning with 2020, went through a lot of the heartbreak, went through a lot of the stuff with the podcast, kept doing that, was really pumped about that. Spent a lot of time kayaking with one of my best friends. If he ever listens to this, shout out him. We went kayaking almost every weekend. Like, it was a perfect way to kind of like detach from everything that was going on in the world, whether it was job, the pandemic, the heartbreak that I was going through, and just to be in nature and paddle and just be with my boy, and we just fucking talk. And like, he was always super supportive of everything that I was going through, and I can't show enough love to him for being there for me, and I'm always there for him too, and he knows that. But to have someone like that in my life that I could do something with is like, that's not family, but it is family, you know what I'm saying? But to have someone like that is so valuable, someone that I could trust with everything, and like, I can't thank him enough. This year really brought us a lot closer, especially this is my first year home, guys. Like, I came back about October of 2019. I moved back home after my toxic job, and I was trying to really figure myself out. And now look at me about a year later, and I have my podcast rocking. I just started my YouTube channel. I'm going strong on TikTok with content, and now I'm just like stepping into this new phase with this podcast, and I'm so excited about this. And you could tell probably in the way that I'm like expressing my like words and my feelings, my emotions. I'm just pumped. There's so much to be excited about. 2021 has a lot of great things to offer, and it's really important to look at it like this. It's just a chance to get better. We're getting kind of like a 2020 part 2, and it sucks to say that, but that's really what this kind of is going to look like. We need to work on our mental health, our physical health, our diets. Like, these things are so fucking important. Our immune systems. Guys, focus on your immune systems. Like, if we work to get our immune systems better, less likely we catch diseases and virus and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that if you're healthy, you're not going to catch COVID. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not a doctor. But doing enough research doing research like I've done, immune systems are super important, and we're not expressing that enough, whether it's in podcasts, the media, like the internet, any of that shit. Work on that stuff. Super important. Transitioning a little bit too, but again, therapy. It is so amazing, and if anyone ever has questions, please reach out to me. Like, therapy has really helped me look at myself in an honest way, because I'm not a perfect human. Like, I'm not perfect whatsoever, but I really like to look at my flaws and be like, yo, where can I get better? Like, how do I properly address this emotion and not be so reactive, maybe, or trying to like influence things with my emotions? You know, I want to like not control them or suppress them. I want to express them in the best possible way that doesn't hurt other people, I guess. And my therapist has been amazing. Like, I don't even know if I would be able to make it through this year without her, to be completely honest. And again, if anyone ever has questions about therapy, if they're nervous about therapy, it's amazing. Normalize therapy. Normalize it. Transitioning a little bit further into the year, as we got closer towards the end of the year, that's really when like my therapist was really crucial for me, and the heartbreak was getting really intense, and my emotions were kind of all over the place. I went hiking a lot, and again, that's with the same person I went kayaking with. Shout out him. We literally spent almost every weekend in the fall up in the mountains in New Hampshire. Fucking awesome. We hiked like Mount Washington and all these other mountains, and got Airbnb later in October, and it was so beautiful to be up in the mountains, and just like I didn't have access to my phone. I could just be, it's an exercise. Like, I just like being outside and being in nature. Like, it's healing. It's absolutely healing. And to do that with him was fucking awesome. And 2020 has been a crazy fucking year, but like there's a lot of great things that I've done personally that are going to help me going forward into 2021 in my years to come. I firmly believe that. I feel like I did a lot of self-work in 2020 that's only going to help me propel into like the next phase of my life. I feel like I'm really about to step in to myself, and I'm going to really be myself. I'm going to do it unapologetically. And if that rubs someone the wrong way, I mean, unfortunately, you can get out of the way. Like, I'm focused on my growth. I'm focused on going forward and attacking this, because I'm really trying to inspire people. Period. I want to push the positive message best I can, but I also want to encourage, like, if you're not feeling okay, it's okay to not be okay. Seriously. Like, it can't be said enough. A lot of us want to feel better, want to feel happy, but without going through these low moments in life, we're never going to understand what true happiness feels like, you know? You need both of those, and it's normal to experience it. It's normal to feel it for long periods of time. People don't want to talk about that. People like kind of label you toxic too if you want to like be sad for long periods. Like, you're choosing that. Like, we don't choose to be sad. For me, I respect the sadness. That really humbles me. That really makes me feel like I need to get better, and like feeling the sadness makes me feel human in a weird way. Like, crying really makes me feel like alive. And I don't know if that really makes sense, but that's really how I feel. If I'm crying, like, I feel alive, because like if I'm crying over something, it's because whatever it could be really gave me happiness at one point. I'm crying, whether it's a loss, like I've lost my grandfather this year, lost the person I thought was going to be part of my life. Like, a lot of us had loss this year, and with loss comes sadness. And sadness is a very tough emotion, and that's something I'm working on religiously to get better with. And I think I've done a pretty good job of expressing myself and acknowledging that I am sad sometimes, because I think I really kind of like got caught up in the beginning of this podcast with pushing the positivity on the positive train, like kind of got caught up in being positive so much that when I became sad, I was like, how am I going to do my podcast if I'm like sad? And that's when I got really honest with myself. I'm like, this is exactly what you need to be doing, because you're showing people it's okay to feel your feelings, and you could still be positive at the same time. Like, it's a balance. And like, once you figure out how to balance that, that is where you really begin to grow as a person and mature. And like, once you understand these like concepts about yourself and become self-aware and address them, you feel like yourself, you feel normal, you feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's how I feel with this podcast. And like, people might want to judge me for the way I do my social medias, but in the end, I'm trying to build a platform for myself to not only push like a brand, but like to inspire people, to help people, to make people feel like they're not alone in this. Because you're not. We all go through things. And if I learned anything this year, it came right at the end when I lost my grandfather, James Carroll Sr. He appeared on episode 2. If you haven't listened to that, please check that out. Amazing man, lived an amazing life, and rest in peace. But that really broke my heart this year. Like, I cried so much. And one of the things he said on the podcast was, take a chance. Take a chance. That literally just rings in my ear nonstop, is take a chance. Go for it. We have one life. Like, why are we going to wait on something? Patience is important. Patience is very, very, very important. But you got to go for things. Sometimes you got to just do things when you're not ready. And like, doing that forces you to get ready, forces you to start working on stuff, start planning stuff. And that's really fucking important. So I really learned how to do that this year, was like, be patient, but to take the chance, to go for it, put myself out here, like start putting my face out there more. And I'm getting comfortable doing that. I'm getting excited to record this video and like excited to record content on TikTok and showing who I am, because I think this podcast does a great job of showing my guests and their stories, but sometimes it doesn't always do the best of showing who I am. And that's why I do like these solo episodes. I like to talk clearly, but it shows you a little bit of my personality and what's going on in my head. And it's kind of like a brain dump, like a diary, almost like a audio diary. And it's kind of really cool, especially when I look back on this in a year, to see what I've accomplished and how I've like gone about my life since this episode. But looking towards 2021, a lot of things to be excited about. I actually recently did a vision board. So if you haven't never done a vision board, it's not too late. You could still do a vision board. And I put a bunch of pictures of things that I'm trying to manifest in my life that I'm trying to attract. I would love to have a very popular podcast, a very popular YouTube channel, a very popular TikTok page, Instagram page. I want to attract that so I can put my message out there for people to hear, because I think my message is valuable. Inspiration, feeling your feelings, and mental health is stuff that you can't push out there enough. So I'm taking that step and doing that more. So that's on my vision board. A lot of spiritual growth stuff, manifestation, the law of attraction. Like, the things that you put out into this world will come back to you. So if you're putting out negative energy, and I was for a little bit, I was putting out negative energy, and that really kind of messed with me, to be completely honest. And once I kind of started realizing that, I was like, I got to get better with this. And with the help of my therapist, I've been doing that. But I'm trying to put out more positivity. I'm trying to be grateful. Gratitude's on there. Patience on there. And being patient and being grateful are two things that I can't stress enough. Like, I'm grateful to have a podcast. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. I'm grateful to enter this new year and be healthy. I'm happy and grateful that my family and my friends are healthy. Like, no matter what comes my way, I have to remain grateful, because that opens me up to so many blessings and what I'm truly trying to manifest in my life. So as long as I could continue doing that, I think the opportunities, wow, cannot talk today, guys. The opportunities are endless. And I'm really focused on that, to be completely honest. But a lot of positivity. I would love to actually have a house in New Hampshire one day, and I put that on my board, just like a house with like a mountain view. I'd love to have a podcast studio in there, invite people up and do that. I think that'd be fucking awesome. I could see it though too. That's the weird thing that really doing this vision board helped, was like putting these pictures on like a poster board and seeing it. Be like, yo, like this is what I'm trying to get. Like this is what I want. These are my goals. And having goals are so important, but you got to put the time and effort to create the goals, to put them down. And now the next step that I'm doing is making them like SMART goals, and I'm trying to make them attainable and like time-based and like measurable. Like I need to make these things important to me, and how I'm going to achieve those, and not just put them out there and just expect them to come to me, because that's not how that's going to work. It takes a lot of hard work to get the things that you're trying to manifest into your life, and I accept that. I acknowledge that. So understanding that, I have a lot of work to do. I'm very excited though. I'm very pumped. And there's a lot of great things to come with this podcast. So guys, please stay tuned. I have episodes planned for the next few weeks. So things might happen. Things might change. This year is crazy. I might have cancellations due to COVID. We'll figure it out, and we'll be safe. I'm going to try to get tested every month. I have a sneeze guard that I'm going to set up between me and my guests. We'll be 6 feet. Masks will be available if people want to use masks. Like, we're going to step into this new place, and we have to learn how to like adapt too. So stay tuned for that. A lot of great stuff. And you can check all the old episodes at thecarrollconnection.simplecast.com. Also available Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all those major listening platforms. So check that out, please. Check out the YouTube channel. If you haven't, check out my TikTok. You can go check that out. But yeah, I'm really excited. So stay tuned for these amazing things to come. And again, thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do, supporting me and allowing me to kind of just be myself. And I can't thank you guys enough. So later, guys.